Procrastination is the act of delaying or postponing something, derived from the Latin verb which means to put off until tomorrow. Now, sometimes delaying tasks is a necessary part of time management, particularly if the thing is unurgent or unimportant, but the issue arises when we delay tasks that need to be done now for no real reason. Interestingly, the root of procrastination is your emotional response to certain things. In fact, you can partly blame your primal instincts. Humans aren't built to think ahead, we're wired to do what is necessary to ensure current survival. This has led to a tendency called present bias, the trend of overvaluing immediate rewards while putting less worth in long-term consequences. This means that even though we know that procrastinating leads to higher stress and lower performance, we'll still choose to do it when faced with the option of avoiding a task in the present. Now, this all seems a bit extreme. I'm assuming most of your daily tasks don't involve actual survival. We're looking more at things like getting an assignment done or doing a workout or making a difficult phone call, but your body's emotional response to these things is still the same. When you look at something that you perceive to be threatening, whether that be you're scared to start an assignment because you don't want to get it wrong or you've heard it might be difficult, your brain is telling you that it's dangerous, and this is flagging up the same hormonal response as if you were being faced by a physical threat. And so, to reduce procrastination, we need to change the way that we're perceiving these tasks emotionally. Firstly, to reduce the threat of a task, we can break it down. To sit there and know that you have to spend 5 hours writing an essay is understandably uncomfortable, but to sit there and know that you have to spend 30 minutes writing an essay plan is a much more palatable idea. It sounds like a simple switch, but the smaller a task looks, the less threatening it appears, and so the less adverse your brain will be to doing it, which means that overall your risk of procrastination is lower. Not only are we reducing your risk of procrastination this way, but also by beginning a big job, by setting it out as a series of smaller jobs, we're being more clear about what you're trying to achieve, and so your overall work outcome and your working efficiency will be a lot better. Mel Robbins came up with a habit that banks on this idea called the 5-second rule. And it's a simple rule, and it's that when you're thinking about doing a task but you catch yourself procrastinating, you count yourself down from 5, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you get up and go. And you can look online for a variety of explanations as to why this might work, but one that I like is that you can procrastinate doing 30 minutes of writing, but to procrastinate counting down from 5 really is an impressive feat. And the idea is that once you've hit go and you've stood up, you've then gained momentum towards the task, and so the chances of you then stopping or sitting back down are a lot lower. To take our idea of decomposition down even further, if there's a task that you're really adverse to doing and you can't even get started, set your first step as just getting ready to start. So if we're looking at an assignment again, your first step is to just set out your desk. You open the tabs on your laptop, you get your notepad out, you get a glass of water, and the chances are that once you finish that, the task doesn't look too bad, everything's already set out for you, you just need to sit down and do it. Secondly, we can make temptations much less convenient. A contributing factor to your desire to procrastinate goes back to our present bias. We want immediate gratification, and most of the time there are going to be things available to you that are much more gratifying than the task that you've been procrastinating. Even though self-discipline is an effective weapon against this, we have the much easier option of simply just removing the temptation. We can work at study spaces that are clean and simple, we can lock our electronic devices away, put on noise-cancelling headphones. All of these dependencies that we create between our productivity and our environment are good because we're lessening the number of dependencies between our productivity and our emotions. Thirdly, we can further remove these immediately gratifying temptations using a technique called the nothing alternative. Now, Raymond Chandler came up with this tactic to try and avoid that middle ground between not working but also not really doing anything else. The nothing alternative is, as it sounds, the decision that you take that you will either do the task or you will do nothing. And by nothing here, we mean literally nothing. You sit there and you look at the ceiling and you let yourself be bored. The idea here is that while you may enjoy the break to begin with, humans have built up this natural aversion to boredom, and so the longer you're sat there, the more challenging it's going to be to do nothing, and the more appealing the task that you were procrastinating is going to start to look. Fourthly, we can try and shift the way that we think about certain things. I think this applies particularly to learning. Unfortunately, a lot of people hold the bias that studying is boring, which is understandable. We've all had our fair share of bad teachers or traumatic exams, but if you have a habitual task like this, you keep procrastinating, the most concrete way that we can fix it is by shifting the way we think about it so that we're not procrastinating because we don't want to procrastinate. Now, that sounds really stupid and not that helpful, right? I've just told you to avoid not doing something you don't want to do, make yourself want to do it, which seems obvious, and I think sometimes it can actually be that obvious. There are a lot of tasks that we accept are not exciting when actually some little changes could make them be that way. For example, I don't like doing the laundry or the dishes, who does? But if I have a podcast I really want to listen to and I tell myself I can only listen to that podcast when I'm doing my chores, all of a sudden I want to do my chores and I'm not at all tempted to procrastinate doing them. I think the most basic change that you can make overall is by viewing tasks as an opportunity. So you always say, I get to insert task here, right? So instead of saying, I have to work out this morning, you say, oh, I get to go running. Or instead of saying, I have to catch up on my maths lecture, you say, I get to learn about spherical coordinates. And it's a really simple switch, but I think for something so small, it actually does have a really, really powerful effect. I think it's always worth spending time looking actively into ways that you can make every area of your life more exciting, or even just investing in more general things like daily gratitude or meditation. I know I said at the beginning that I think that learning is a particularly big problem. If you're looking for ways to make studying more interesting, I love this video called How I Tricked My Brain to Be Addicted to Studying. It gives like a comprehensive guide on how you can change your study habits to make learning feel like a game rather than a chore. Now, not only can we make studying interesting, but we can also make it fun. And if you're looking for a free and easy way to reframe the way you think about learning, Brilliant is the best way to learn maths, data science, and computer science interactively. Brilliant features thousands of lessons in all kinds of topics with new courses added each month. I've been working on their new course Going Viral on X, which has been helping me with a topic that I'm not quite so confident in, probability. And not only is it teaching me the mathematical components, but it's also demonstrating how probability can be used in applied situations that I find interesting. Additionally, I like to use Brilliant alongside my university degree, working on courses like linear algebra or logic, and this is helping me to solidify those fundamental skills that I need for my day-to-day. Brilliant offers bite-sized lessons to develop that daily learning habit, and so learning with them fits conveniently into my busy schedule, whether that be when I'm waiting for lectures or when I'm on the bus. Brilliant customizes content to fit your needs, and it lets you solve at your own pace. Each lesson comes with hints to guide you in the right direction should you need it, and each question comes with step-by-step solutions. To try everything that Brilliant has to offer for free for a full 30 days, visit brilliant.org/Yenran, or you can just click on the link in the description. And even better, the first 200 of you can get 20% off their annual premium subscription. Finally, your emotional response and therefore your risk of procrastination with respect to a task are heightened by your overall well-being. If you're already stressed or occupied about something in your personal life, the chances are that you're not going to want to take on more stress. It's important to be realistic with yourself about whether or not you're in a state to be doing whatever. Procrastination is a habit, and so by putting yourself in that situation, all you're doing is developing that habit that you're trying to cut, and so at that point you're much better just walking away. Okay, that's everything. I'm not going to procrastinate. I'm going to go and edit this video right now. So you get off YouTube and go and do some work. On a real one though, thank you so much for watching. Thank you to brilliant.org for sponsoring this video. If you are watching this and you're procrastinating doing work right now, the least you can do is hop onto Brilliant and do some maths fundamentals puzzles, okay? Other than that, I'll see you guys next week.